Well, folks, look at what a day we had. Um, Out of the seven races we picked, five of them came in where we wanted them to come. Obviously, with three winners, the first was the next best at 5-4. The nap of the day came in at 5-2. A lovely drifter out from 15-8, and the bumper horse absolutely coasted up into a very easy win. So when you put it all into perspective, it's been a very good day, especially with a couple of each way fancies as well, with the trigger at 9-1 and Call the Fairies at 13-2, if I'm not mistaken. Call the Fairies was very unlucky at 13-2 not to win, but say la vie, we can't win them all. But we're going to tackle Punchestown now tomorrow. Obviously, Punchestown hasn't really been the most profitable for me in the past. Take my opinion as you will. I'm not, I suppose, expecting anyone to go overboard. I certainly haven't anyway with tomorrow. But I'll always give my, I suppose, predictions and my opinions and everything else like that. And hopefully, I can't see it being as successful as today, but hopefully we'll pick one or two winners out of it anyway. First race off 155, we're going to go with Jabaya at 2-1. If I'm not mistaken, this is going to be, no, it's not going to be the next best of the day. But I do really fancy it. It's giant favourite here with a Jigginstown horse, who has been very frustrating to follow. Obviously, the Jigginstown horse comes in with, I suppose, the better overall performance form wise, but when you put it into perspective, Yabaya is coming here off a very respectable mark. He's been very, I suppose, very determined in his runs, and he's been running very credibly all the way along. I think the worst position he's finished out of his whole career has been fourth. He's had a nice introduction to chasing. He looks to be, I suppose, one of the more solid picks of the day. I definitely wouldn't be going head over heels with this Jigginstown horse. It looks to be just one that's very frustrating to follow, and whatever it wins, it won't, I suppose, repay, I suppose, followers of the horse and all that. But look at Yabaya definitely looks to be one nice horse at 2-1. I definitely would take it over the giant favourite here with the Jigginstown horse. But yeah, Yabaya coming from a stable that's one of the best known for the point to point scenes, that being Colin Bow. So really and truly, this Yabaya shouldn't be, I suppose, totally out of the picture tomorrow, especially with the chasing fences and everything else like that. And I definitely think 2-1 is a lovely, lovely price about him. 2:30, we're going to go at an each way shout here. We're going to go with Jack Hackett at 11-2. Really and truly, this looks to be a very, very decent race. I'd be hoping to see Jack Hackett run a very good race. He is coming in here, possibly at the best contest he's faced yet, but you can't overlook overall form. This Tiger Vice, the form doesn't back up. Why he's 11-8, I really don't know. Although he was impressive that day in Galway, the form has come back since, and it looks to be a fairly poor race. There's nothing that has backed up that form, and anything that I suppose looks to have backed it up has failed miserably in the process. What I mean by this is you look at the likes of Packins Rock, who is fifth behind this Tiger Vice in Galway last time out. Now, Packins Rock went on to Listowel. He played a game for John McConnell, and played a game I don't think ran very well, if I'm not mistaken. I think he was behind Razul and Andaluza. But I could be totally wrong there. He could have ended up second. My eyes were totally fixed on Ben Rubin, to be quite honest with you. I was cheering him home as the nap of the day. But yeah, there's an awful lot of these that haven't, I suppose, backed up the form whatsoever. And this Jack Hackett, if you go back, I don't know how long it was, but into his bumper days, I suppose, when he won his one of his bumpers, I think it was in Cork, and the horse that won by close to a furlong. Since then, the name completely escapes me now, but all you have to do is look up Listowel races, and the win is surely there. It's one of the most craziest races I've ever seen in my life. But yeah, obviously the form backs up well. Jack Hackett, price of 11-2. It is absolutely crazy, and it's definitely well worth an each way. Although he is facing probably more difficult opposition than he has done so far, I definitely think Jack Hackett is well worth getting on board at 11-2. Um, the 305, we're going to go with Scholastic at 3-1. Joseph O'Brien horse here. This one looks to be a very, very nice progressing horse. It's coming up against Jeff Kidder, if I'm not mistaken, from the Noel Mead Yard. I've no, I suppose, race card in front of me. All I have is the few notes that I've written down here. And I'm just looking into a phone with a camera turned on me. But I really do think this Scholastic or Scaloistic or something along them lines, whatever the way the name is pronounced, I definitely think it does have a great shout. JJ Slevin is on board, like I said, for Joseph O'Brien. The two of them had a very nice winner in, oh, I don't know, it was a maiden hurdle there for there in the Listowel Festival. It was a yellow and purple quarters. I can't even think of the name now. It's completely escaped me. I did tip it up, but I think it was Sleege Dalla actually. Yeah, Sleege Dalla is the name I'm thinking of. But I definitely think this Jeff Kidder would really want, I suppose, a little more juice in the ground. It looks like good ground doesn't really suit it too much. Scholastic is definitely, I suppose, the complete opposite. The drier the ground, the better. It's flat based. It's a flat horse. It looks to be, I suppose, better on better ground really at the end of the day, and it's all sort of falling into place. With Jeff Kidder being 5-4, it definitely speaks volumes about the chance that he has, and I suppose you can't, I suppose, argue with it. But I definitely think 3-1 is definitely more value. You'll definitely have a great run for your money, and I think ground is going to be a big factor tomorrow. And Scholastic at 3-1 definitely looks to be a very nice shout. 340, we're going to go with Beacon Edge, the next best of the day, currently trading around 11-10 or 10-11. This one looks clear as day. It looks completely off the boards. He's the class act of the race. He's coming from the Noel Mead Yard, who are in tremendous form, with Sean Flanagan, if I'm not mistaken, on board. It looks to be clear cut. This Hussein, it looked a little bit guessy at the hurdles last time out. It didn't scream, I suppose, future superstar. This Beacon Edge, with the competition it's faced previously, it's stepping into much calmer waters here now. It should really deserve odds of in or around 4-7 or 2-1 in this field. 10-11, although it is odds on, it is great value in my opinion. I definitely think come race time tomorrow, you're going to be looking at 4-7, 1-2, or possibly 4-9. And if that's the case, we will be happy as Larry being on at 10-11. Although if it does drift out, we'll be even happier, more money in our pockets. But 4-15, we're going to go with an each way shout here. I suppose you could class it as a little bit of a big price each way. We're going to go with Rebel Gold, currently trading around 12-1. I think this one has a great chance. If I'm not mistaken, Bet365 are doing 4 places at a quarter the odds. So all this horse really has to do is come in second, third, or fourth at odds of in or around 3-1, and there you go, you've trebled your money already. And I think definitely with, I suppose, good ground and everything like that falling into place, it should really be a horse that is a force to be reckoned with. It's, although it was beaten a good distance behind Jon Snow, it's clear as day Jon Snow is a force to be reckoned with. I think Jon Snow is going to be a very, very good horse in time to come. It was another horse that was beaten as well in the past was Far Mix for, if I'm not mistaken, Elizabeth Doyle. It was either Elizabeth Doyle or Lorna Fowler, or it could be completely different, but I'm nearly certain it's Elizabeth Doyle that has him. That horse has gone on to do big and better things, and it has been very, very good. And I definitely think, look at Rebel Gold has actually been very popular for the Peaky blogger tips, as we tipped it up once racing resumed in Ireland again at a price of 20-1, and it absolutely romped home in conditions similar to this. So do not be surprised to see this Rebel Gold run a very big race at a price of 12-1. And like I said, if it runs into the places, we're happy as Larry. If it wins, we'll have an absolute party on our hands, I think. But 12-1 is definitely the value horse of the race, and I'd be surprised to see it not put in a decent run. I'd be expecting to see it put a very bold show up here against these horses, and it should definitely have a small squeak. Now, moving on to the 450 nap of the day. I can't let this go off without napping up Robinia at 11-8. I'm great friends with James Fenton. I've heard nothing about the horse. I'm obviously Ron Robinson, the main man behind the World of Sport, who I write for. He is, I think, 1 or 2 shares in the horse as well. I've heard nothing about it. All I'm going on is my personal lie. I think it's a fairly weak contest. It looks to be very much in her grasp. She's the only one in this field that has a Cheltenham anti-post entry, really, at the end of the day. There's no entries, or there's no an anti-post market, I suppose you could call it. She shattered the Sligo record, the course record, by 7 seconds last time out. Or not last time out, but it was the time before in the bumper. Where did she go then? I think she went back to Sligo, if I'm not mistaken, where she ran fairly credibly, and she just, I suppose inexperienced better at the end of the day. She was a novice at the end of the day, and she was a maiden hurdler, completely new to the game. She was very keen. I think Paul Townend and Willie Mullins, they'll find the best way to settle her down, and she should be very, very hard beat. And I want to take this opportunity to wish James Fenton and Ron Robinson and all the Closutton Racing Club members the very best of luck with her. I think you have a very, very good mare in your hands, and hopefully we'll see the likes of herself, and she wears it well, back on the tracks very, very soon. Now the last race of the day, the 520, we're going to go to Rosgalmy at 5-1. A lovely, lovely each way shout here. Gordon Elliott has Jimmy, a very, very nice bumper winner, although it looked I suppose make a race of it, as the saying goes. It just didn't look to be comfortable enough in the race itself, and I definitely think it looks to be one that would prefer to have the ground a little bit softer. I can't see it relishing this really quick ground tomorrow. And who knows whether this horse is going to be well schooled or not. Obviously, coming from the Gordon Elliott yard, you'd expect it to be well schooled and well capable of taking a maiden hurdle on his first go. But I am very much taken back by this Rosgalmy. It was a very impressive winner in Kilbeggan the last time it ran. It's been off the track since. Coming from the Noel Mead yard, Noel Mead is in tremendous form both on the flat and over jumps. I definitely think, looking with Sean Flanagan on board, It's definitely one that's going to, I suppose, maybe cause a little bit of a shock if it does win, but definitely for me it wouldn't be too much of a shock. She's well built. She's ideally built more so than well built. She's just an absolute picture for this. Um, I realise I'm calling it she. I'm not 100% sure if it's a mare or a gelding, but we're for some reason I'm calling it a she. So I for some reason the mare seems to be coming towards me more so than the gelding. But look at this Ruscalmi. It definitely should run a very good race, and 5 to 1 is a lovely, lovely price. But look, I'm going to leave it there. Make sure to keep liking, sharing, subscribing. If you're on board today, I would suggest, I suppose, taking a little bit handy. Don't go too mad with me now tomorrow. As I said, Punchestown isn't really the best track for me, records wise, and I saw an opportunity there in Roscommon, which is one of my better courses, and I took it with open arms, and gladly so. But if you're going to be having a bet, best of luck. Make sure to keep liking, sharing, subscribing. The more followers we get, the better this page grows and expands, and the more, I suppose, chance of it making a little bit of money down the line, which will definitely go into buying equipment like cameras, microphones, podcast cameras, all this sort of nonsense people might say, but it'll definitely, I suppose, build up the channel to a more professional standard. And instead of looking at me through a phone camera, you'd be looking at me through a professional, well set up camera with plenty of, I suppose, visual aspects to it more so than this. But I may as well stop ranting on now, and thanks very much.